From last year. And Marvin, it doesn't move forward on its own, so you're gonna have to move forward.
Yes, but you gotta be on the microphone to explain everything.
Oh. I mean, my voice isn't loud enough?
Okay, my question is, we're just gonna, explain what's on the slideshow, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
All right, so we're going to have a slideshow from some events from last year. Here you can see is our new council for 2022 on the left-hand side. And there's Donna and Anna doing music. We have such great musicians. It's wonderful. So you can move it. That was our plant sale last year. Look at all those plants.
And it's happening again this year, right?
And it is happening again this year, right? So gardeners, if you want to start vegetables or flowers or dig things up that you don't want in your yard anymore, go for it and bring them.
And we're doing it twice nice with that?
It's
also?
going to be from January 2nd and January 3rd. Yes, twice nice and the plant sale. June, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to mention, they had small little succulents. Now, they came with little pots over at Schaefer's. The prices are ridiculous. I mean, like $12 for little time. So it would be a good thing for us to have lots of succulents.
Okay,
I know
let's
they
talk about that later, though.
They sell very well.
Good, thank you. All right. And let's see, who do we have there? Oh, there we have our three brand new practitioners who had just finished their test and passed. Yay. And then we had made this sign, and so some of us are standing outside showing off the sign.
That was me.
It says, "We are CSL." That's right. Louise made the sign. Next. Here we have our choir, yeah. So July 4th.
Yeah. For the July choir.
That's great. Next. Guess what this is? Getting ready for Twice Nice. I know it's a lot of work, but it's worth it financially for the center. Next. And there's a whole bunch of us volunteers in this room, the clothing room, again with our sign, "We are CSL." So we really appreciate all the volunteers. It takes a whole tribe to make our center work right. Next. Here's more music, Les and Jeff. Yay. Next. And then we had, as a guest speaker, Reverend Bonnie Anderson and her husband, Andy Anderson. And of course, Andy and Jeff are really playing well together. Next. Let's see. Oh, and then Rick started our member of the month. So there's two of them. That was a good thing to start. And here is our 4 new members last year. Yay! And here's some busy people out in the front yard. I like Doug hiding behind the hedge. Yeah, that's right, definitely. Okay, next. And there's our dancers. That's so much fun when you guys do that to our music. And this was the practitioner retreat, which was really wonderful. It was at Miranda Gardens. And we had a few great little cabins. The first night, the two guys had to cook dinner, so they're muddling through. And then there was a bonfire every night, which was great. So you can't see very well, but that's a bunch of us sitting around the bonfire. Next. And we also had Melissa and Z here last year. They were great. And we have to stop and take a moment and think about Ty. We all miss her. Oh, yes, definitely. Her spirit is definitely with us. Next. Okay, there we go. Oh, and then we had this wonderful stage made. Look at that. There's our stage makers. Yeah. Rick and his son Matt and Brian. Very good. It works really well, doesn't it? Next. And then we had our volunteer of the year. Yay, Marvin! That's of the year. The other ones were of the month. And then there's the group at the Sing Thing this year. Or whatever they're calling it now. Community Sing, I think it is. Used to be the Thanksgiving Sing. And there's our Thanksgiving dinner. Boy,
Those centerpieces.
yeah. Carol did such a good job with all those centerpieces. The whole room looked so beautiful.
Carol.
Here's Bridge House. Look at all that stuff that we all gave to the kids. Whoa, how many kids were there? Is Bev here? I don't remember. There weren't very many kids this year, but we certainly gave them a lot of things. That was great.
And the parents.
Yeah, and the parents, you're right. Yep. And this was Christmas dinner. We had Christmas Day dinner here for those that wanted to come.
I recognize that crock pot.
It was good food. And that I took because it was just so beautiful. You know, all of the plants there are in memorial. So the irises are Bobby. The roses, one was Lynn Curtis. The one on the other side of the stairs is Randy's mother. The red rose was already there. But we'll have to think. I don't remember if I ever found out from Cherie what Ty's favorite flower was. So
Everett.
what?
Everett.
Did we have?
I thought the irises were for Everett.
No, those are Bobby.
Those were Bobby. I don't remember what we planted for
I think
Everett.
those roses that we put by the signs out.
Oh yeah, that's right. By the sign, those were Everett. Yeah.
They were in the pots.
Yeah.
Very nice.
All right. I think that's it. Yep. All right. I'm going to invite our core council, our center council president up. There he is. Would you like some light?
Oh, sure, I'll turn the lights.
I'll do it.
Light.
I was going to turn on the spot.
You guys are in a race to do the light.
That one's not going to happen yet. That slide. That's why I gave you a blank one, Marvin, in between. So thanks for doing so well this year, everybody.
At this point, I'd like to call up one of our new practitioners, Scott Q. Marcus, to do an opening invocation for us.
We'll take a moment and get centered as we prepare to enter this meeting. I know there is one powerful, benevolent, joyful, creative force that is what we call the universe. We call it God. We call it Spirit. It is within. It is around. It is us. It is in every spot, and it is here. And knowing that it is here at all times, including this minute, I bring this Spirit to us. I allow it to speak through us. I allow these reports to represent all that we are doing and all that we can do, and for that I am grateful. I bless this meeting, and I release this into the law of mind, and so it is. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's actually a lecture. And thank goodness this works, or we'd fall through, it'd be a stage we'd be going through. Thank you.
He taught me the thing about don't leave the podium.
Yes, I know I did, and then I violated my own rule.
Poetic justice, Jake.
Marvin, do we have a slide for the vision statement, mission statement, purpose statement? Okay. I've got it right here. Who would like to come up and read our vision statement, mission statement, and purpose statement? It's right here. You can read it. Come on up, Catherine. Oh, sorry, Donna. Here it is. Walking on.
You read it here?
Yes.
Okay. I love these things. That's why I really love our vision and mission and purpose. They're the grounding, the foundation of what we are. So our vision statement, our community is a sacred home that teaches spiritual principles and nurtures the individualized unfoldment of God. Our mission statement, we are committed to the science of mind philosophy. We remain open to change and new ideas as we take inspired action. And our purpose statement, we inspire our community to embrace their spirituality and to be an active part of a thriving center as we provide an evolving practice to a world of peace, unity, and good stewardship of our planet and all its inhabitants.
Thank you, Wakana. Well, this is so exciting. I know next year we're going to celebrate our 40th anniversary as a chartered center. But actually, it started in 1983 because we had to apply for the charter. And the charter was approved on January 10th of 1984. But before that, we had a board, and we had people committed to supporting the church. That was important. That's what you have to prove. You have enough members, and they're committed to supporting it, not only by showing up and doing what it takes to run it, but financially. And it was my honor and privilege to be the first president of that board. And so I've come full circle serving as president again. And it's, like I say, it's an honor and a privilege. Our founder was Gladys Reeves. I'm gonna abandon the podium, Scott. And her picture is in the hallway as well. She was a tiny little woman. Here she is. We're having one of our parties, one of our famous parties. This was in 19...
It doesn't show, we gotta hold it higher.
Oh, sorry. Okay, there's Gladys, right here. I don't expect you to be able to see this or Marvin be able to get close enough. I'll leave this on the table.
Okay.
Yeah, and the woman here is the minister that Lisa and I first learned under. Her name is the Reverend Dr. Dorothy Corbett from the San Luis Obispo. At the time, it was called the Church of Religious Science before they changed it to Centers of Spiritual Living. And we've moved all over the place renting spots. And we always wanted our own house, so to speak, that we owned. And here we are at what was called the Humboldt Cultural Center, which is on First Street. And it was a beautiful old building. And that's me 40 years ago. That's Lisa. And inside Lisa is our son, Matthew. And these are two of the first charter members, Barney and Joanne Elking. And this is Yvonne. I forget her last name, but Yvonne is right here. And she was a real powerful force in getting this started. There was such a vortex of energy. Lisa and I moved up here in 1982 after attending the Church of Religious Science in San Luis Obispo. And the first thing we did was look for a church up here, and there wasn't one. But there was a study group in Fortuna led by Gladys Reeves. And so we joined that, and it was wonderful. She was just a little powerhouse. And about, on an average of 6 to 8 people would show up each week, and she would lead us in hymns, and she would read from Ernest Holmes and other Science of Mind teachings. Her favorite hymn was, "I Walk in the Garden Alone," I think is what it was called. And then she had a little pot in the middle when we would put money in it. And she kept saying, one day we'll have enough in that pot to start a church. And so one day we said, well, how much do we need and how many members do we need? And that's how we started the charter. It took 25 members. I don't remember how much money it took. And from there, I'm so thrilled because look where we are now. As Lisa and I like to say, look where we is. And in 1989, we had a real serious visioning session, and we came up with a list of 38 things that we wanted. This was way before we bought this building, but number one on the list was we want our own space. And we had rented this space before, and then we had to leave, and we made a circle and went to the Eureka Inn and went to the, one of our earliest places was at the Marina, which I liked a lot. And we had to move from there. We kept having to move. And so we wound up here, and one day we, the minister was Reverend Betsy Elliott. Thank you. Took a vote, said, do we want to keep looking? The Oddfellows have said we could buy this place. We all went, yeah, let's buy this place. So we bought this place. And then since then, there's just been nothing but constant improvement because of dedicated volunteers, because of councils that would look around and go, what needs to be done? How can we improve this place? How can we better serve the community? And the ideas would come up, and we would act on them. Inspired action. And it's amazing what you can do when you are inspired. It reminds me of the story of a captain in a ship many years ago. One of those old wooden sailing ships came upon an island. They saw smoke signals, and he said, well, somebody's on that island. Let's go check it out. And they found a man who'd been living on the island. He'd been marooned for 30 years. And what he had done was incredible, just by himself. And like Tom Hanks in Castaway, maybe he had a knife or something, but he had built a house, and he had built a pen, and he'd built a barn, and there were wild goats, and he was taking them all around before they took him home on the ship. He was showing them everything. There's my water wheel, and here's my garden, and here's my church. And the captain looked over and said, what's that abandoned building over there that the jungle's taking over? He said, oh, that's the church I used to go to. I was so excited to discover this teaching because I was raised a Catholic, and I wasn't very happy being raised a Catholic. The nuns didn't like me. They didn't like anybody. And then my dad, who's a scientist, said, oh, I'm through with this. He'd been raised Catholic too, but one day he just put his foot down. I used to imitate a flamingo, and my wife said, stop doing that, so I had to put my foot down. But so he took us out, and we moved from Minnesota to California, and for years I was a very proud atheist. Oh, there's no God. I just went from one extreme to the other. And then I met Lisa. Well, first something happened. I was starting having these incredible dreams, and I thought, there's more here than meets the eye. Maybe there is something more than we can see. My dad's philosophy was, if you can't measure it, it doesn't exist, because he was a scientist. And when I met Lisa, and immediately fell in love, and we'll be celebrating our 43rd anniversary this year. Yeah, on spring. We picked spring, so I wouldn't forget it. She said she was wearing a Science of Mind emblem. I said, what is that? And she was kind of embarrassed, and she said, oh, it's an emblem of a church I go to. She wasn't sure how I would feel about church. And I go, really? Well, if you go to it, I want to go to it. So I went to it. fell in love with it, never left it. And then we moved up here in 82 and joined the study group, and here we is. So I think most of us didn't start out in science of mind, but we were attracted to the philosophy because it's so loving, and it gives us such power. It reminds us who we are. It reminds us of our connection to God. And for 30 years, I'd been hearing about tithing, and I was never comfortable with it. I thought, it's a way for the church to get more money, but we need money. But in 2008, Betsy Elliott gave a sermon about tithing, and something just clicked. And I came home to Lisa and I said, and something happened that clicked. I gave some money in the spirit of a tithe, and it immediately came back to me, multiplied. And I came home and I said, we share all of our financial decisions. I said, well, I'm gonna tithe on, let's say, half of the income. And she said, I am too. And since that day, September 18th, 2008, we have never felt pinched. There's a saying by Catherine Ponder, I no longer struggle and strive, I tithe and thrive. And so I wanted to share this information because I thought it was so valuable. So I wrote a book it was originally called The Poor Little Rich Old Woman. And that was the first edition. My daughter illustrated it. And I was sharing that with Angelica, Reverend Angelica, and one of our past presidents, Lori Richardson. And they went, that's neat, but I don't like the title. I said, well, I don't either. But I want to republish it. And she said, Lori said, well, if you change the title, I will fund you in the first printing. I went, wow. So she funded the first printing. She gave me $200, and that bought 200 copies. And here it is, Once Upon a Tithe. And I'm getting goosebumps, because the main lesson is the purpose of tithing. Let's see. What was it? She meets a monk, and the monk says he's teaching her about, throughout the book, people are learning about the law of circulation. If you want water from a pump, you have to prime it before you can pump it. If you want to grow a crop, you have to plant seeds. If you want a fire, you have to light a match. Give the wood some match. So he's teaching her about, she's got 2 cents left, and she wants to save it to buy an apple so she can live for one more day. And he says, well, why don't you give it to God? Well, how do you give it to God? You give it to those people whose work it is to remind us of the nature of God. For it is through remembering that we are God's children that we learn to trust that God will always provide us with everything we need. She says, including money? Of course, says the monk. Money is simply a symbol of goods and services. It is something we exchange for these things. Give it in faith and gratitude for God's gift of life to you, and he will return it to you many times over. So she says, I want to give you this money. You've reminded me of something I once knew but had forgotten. What's that? Said the monk. That I'm a child of God, that God loves me and will always take care of me. So saying, she pressed her last few cents into the monk's hand, and at that very moment felt a deep, warm sense of peace and security flow through her entire body. That's what it feels like when you tithe. And then right after that, she gets hired for 10 times what she gave him, or 100 times, I think it was. I wrote it a while ago. So anyway, I'm going to be giving a short seminar on this that we'll keep you apprised of. It'll be announced, and the books, of course, will be available. I'd like to welcome my sister Maureen here, who flew up, kind of a spur-of-the-moment, spontaneous trip. And she said, my wife Lisa's recovering from a heart operation. So Mo said, I'm going to make chicken soup. What's better for healing than chicken soup? She said, I'm going to bring the ingredients. I'm going to bring all my spices and everything. And so we were driving back from the airport, and she said, let's stop. I'm going to stop at Safeway so I can get a chicken. And I said, oh, you didn't bring it? I thought you were going to bring the chicken. And she said, I can't bring a chicken on the plane. And I said, why not? It's a dead chicken. It's carry-on. It's carry-on. Okay, at this point, I'm going to thank our existing council, and then Angelica is going to acknowledge the outgoing council members and introduce the slate for our new members. Our council starts with a wise, wonderful minister, Reverend Angelica Jane Taggart. We are so fortunate to have her as our spiritual leader. How did you describe yourself, as an earth mother a couple sermons ago?
Kennedy Schultz called me
Earth mother.
but he said it derogatory.
Oh. Well, she's so wise and she's so grounded and approachable, and I just love her. Yeah. We've got trained compassionate healing practitioners, but they're not on the council. Well, some of them are on the council. Les is. I'm skipping ahead here. Oh, I'm on the wrong page. We own this building and can do anything we want with it as long as it's within the city codes. The question is, where do we want to go from here? It's up to us. You don't have to be on the council to make a difference. Bring your ideas forth and share them with us to move forward, to create the kind of council you want. I realize I'm wandering around my agenda here. But if you look at the membership form for 2023, there's a list of things we accomplished just in 2022. Installed 3 new practitioners, graduated students from various classes, supported Bridge House with food, gift cards for holiday dinners, and lots of gifts for the families. Supported Food for People with a consistent gift each month. Repaired parts of our roof and installed solar panels. And Doug spearheaded that. Thank you, Doug. Had new outdoor lighting installed energy-efficient lighting in the social hall. We expanded our lending library, in case you didn't know, through those 2 doors is a vast lending library, so check it out. Upgraded our live Zoom offerings on Sunday mornings, and thank you, Marvin. Marvin has just taken it from where we were to a whole nother level. Yeah. I'm constantly getting feedback. God, it looks great. It sounds great. He's got multiple cameras. Wow. We attracted more musicians. Yeah, it's so fun to play music. We had wonderful guest speakers, and Angelica just has this network of incredible people that come. Once a month, we get somebody that's just wows us. Z and Reverend Mel, God, they just rocked the joint. They were doing rap. It just was so fun. We maintained our free food pantry and free little library. We started acknowledging a member of the month, and that's really fun to spotlight somebody that's doing so much. We had a successful Twice Nice sale. We had a successful plant sale. We established a cozy visiting space in the social hall. I really like that. We welcomed several new members to ECSL. We had many happy reports of demonstrations and healings. And it's nice to be reminded that this center is a healing center. We use these principles for healing. And that means any part of your life, relationships, finances, your body, it's a healing center. We established a sister church relationship with Ukiah. So back to the council. And that's what this, when I look around the center, there's the physical center that has so much. It's got the big kitchen, it's got the social hall and the beautiful grounds in the front, but it's got incredible, wonderful, warm people. Don't you feel like it's a family, like you're coming home whenever you come here? Yeah, you're loved, you're welcomed, people are happy to see you. So, I've acknowledged Angelica. Les Craig serves as our wonderful secretary. Is Les here? Did she go home? She had to go home. Okay. She's really good. Takes very good notes. Doug Campreth is our official treasurer. Thank you, Doug. Man, there's a lot. A lot to keep track of. And he is ably assisted by somebody who's off the wings, Susan Hess, our former treasurer. Kathy Johansson. There's Kathy. Kathy just came into the council like lightning bolts. She's got all these ideas, good ideas. And Edward Waples. I wish Edward was here. He's on Zoom right now. Oh, he's on Zoom. Edward Waples. Yeah. He has such a wise, peaceful presence about him. And when he talks, it's like listening to Moses. Okay. At this, let's see. Don't want to get out of order here. Yes. Yeah. Edward's going through a health issue, and we will help him get through it. I skipped the marketing report. I was supposed to.
I moved it up.
What about Burl?
Oh, Burl. Of course. How could I forget Burl, the vice president? Burl. The vice presidents always get short shrift, you know? You know? Can you name Kennedy's vice president? I can't. Okay. So what do you want to do next? I think, okay, that's everybody. All right. Angelica.
Okay. So Rick has introduced to you our current board, and I would like to introduce, or first I want to mention our two outgoing members of our board, and that is Les Craig and Edward Waples. Both decided that they need to really focus on their health, and we're focusing on that with them, definitely. And so we have two new people who have offered to be on our slate for our council. So it is Nancy Tate and Karen Blakely. And I am going to invite them to come up and say a little bit, and then we will have our vote. All right? So you want to do it first?
So there's 2 slots and 2 candidates, right?
Pardon me?
2 slots and 2 candidates.
Yes, 2 slots and 2 candidates. And we put it out for the last month for anybody else who might want to participate, but I think we got 2 good ones here.
All right. Well, hi, everybody. I think you guys know both of us pretty well. I moved here last year because Spirit called me to Eureka, and I have not been disappointed. It takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable enough to do that. We talked about that today, and I know that many of you are aware I'm in ministerial school, and I know in my future that I will be a senior minister of a center someday. So this seems like just the natural next step for me is to join the board and be able to support all of our beloved congregants in such a beloved way. And I bring with me 10 years of experience at an outside center. So there's a lot of different ideas that I hope will be, something we can throw out and look at as well. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, I came to Eureka 1.5 years ago, and I moved from Lakeport, and I moved in with my sister. And she put up with me for about 4 months. So, anyway, she's the one that got me coming to this church. And every time I've come up here to visit her, I've gone to the church, and I've always loved it. And there was never one that I wanted to go to down where I lived. And so what I want is why I have joined the board, is because I want to know more about it. I want to know more about the religion, the spiritual practice, and I want to know more about how it's all run. And I just really do love where I have landed.
So we are going to have a very simple vote right now. We're going to do it by, let's have somebody make a motion to accept the slate. Burl did it first. Oh. Hey, I got to remember this because I'm also taking notes. So Burl made a motion that we're accepting the slate. Anna seconded it. All in favor? Aye. Is there any nays? It passes. Thank you so much. Thank you to Karen and to Nancy for stepping up. Karen, I know that being on the board will help you a lot in your ministerial training. And Nancy, when you gave us your resume, sort of, I'm glad that you've had experience on boards and working with groups, so that's nonprofit groups, so that's wonderful. Thank you very much. So let's give our whole board a hand. And I'm gonna ask the board to stay afterwards a little bit, just so I can take a picture to put in tomorrow's newsletter, all right? So I'm going to invite Scott to come up and do a marketing report. Got to stand here.
My old Toastmasters chapter would be proud.
Yes, definitely.
All righty. So if Rick was the president in 1982 or 1983, and again in 2023, we're welcoming you for 2063 right now. Every 40 years is run by Rick. All right, for the last several years before I started president, I started keeping track of our statistics here, which is why I count everybody and why I get the report of the income, whereby we do live in a spiritual world. We also do live in a realistic world that needs money, and it needs to know where we are. So I'm assuming that the slides got transferred over, because there's no way, yeah, there we go. There's no way I'm going to be able to remember these. So I got 4 slides for you just to show you the state of the center over the last 5 years. And what you're seeing here, first of all, is our yearly attendance. What I do every week is I count the number of people, and sometimes people help me. Rick has been really great about helping lately. This also includes, over the last, since COVID kicked in, it also includes the Zoomers who are here too. So if you go all the way to the far left, that would have been 2019. Boy, I should have not worn my glasses. It's more blurry with them. 2019. And we had about 2,800 people. It's, I think, hard to see it from where you are, because it's sure hard to see it from where I am. We went up a little bit in 2020. Of course, COVID, that was because we had a lot of people coming in through the Zoom room. We dropped, as you can see, in 2021. We continued to drop in 2022, but the nice news is, the last row is 2023. That is projected. The spreadsheet that I created takes the average weekly attendance and it multiplies it by 52. This is as of, it doesn't have the date. I think this is as of actually last week. So it's projecting that 2023 will be our best year in the last 5 years. So thank you. And it's estimating we'll have about 2,800 people who will be showing up at services. So we'll see. It's been so far pretty good. And our attendance lately, back in the year when I was president, I remember Lori, who followed me, Lori and I were standing at, that was the back of the room at that point. And we had all the chairs close to filled, and this was before COVID kicked in, because I was president 2019 to early 2020. And I remember Lori and I talking about, where are we going to put additional chairs, because we're going to need a lot more, because we were growing at an amazing clip. And of course, pandemic kicked in, and we are back close to those numbers. Today, I think our numbers were, including the Zoom room, 64 people. And that has been where we've been the last couple of weeks, in the 60s. Last year, I think we were averaging like in the 40s. So thank you for showing up. Next slide related to that is the yearly collections. Now, just because attendance goes up doesn't necessarily mean collections goes up, but right now they are going up. And this is based on, again, a projection for 2023. This should be our highest year in collections. I take the number of, I take what our collections are every year, I put them into the spreadsheet, it multiplies the average times 52, although for the past years they're actual totals, and you can see that it's projecting for this year about, I don't know what the number is, but it's a good number, and it's moving up. Again,
77,370.
thank you. God, you can really see that, huh? All right. Or you're just making it up and nobody else can see it to dispute you. Sure, our projections for this year, $283,416. But now that incidentally is just from from what people put in this room. We have other sources of income, as the Twice Nice and other classes and other services that we provide. But we're looking at, again, a very good year. That is because of you. That is the donations. That is the tithing, which I started last year after being dragged in by my heels. And Rick and I had several discussions about tithing. I said, I'm not going to do it. It's just a plot to help the church. I'm not going to do it. And then finally I said, all right, I'll do it. And I said, I'll do it for a month. And I think I've been doing it now I think I'm coming up on a year, and seem to be doing well. And others apparently are doing that. So that's our yearly collections. Including the projected for this year. The last of the projected slides, and then I'll show you our actual numbers, is da-da-da-da. There's going to be some red bars that are going to appear in a second. There they are. So this is the final statistic that I keep, is the average dollars per attendee. So that is the number of dollars donated per week divided by the number of people who are here. It's an important statistic because as we take a look at if we try and increase revenue, there's a couple of ways to do it. We can increase attendance and we can increase the dollars that are donated by each person. And I think those are valuable numbers to know. Our dollars per attendee right now, it looks like they're about $30.53. For 2023. Last year they were $32.08. People are donating a few less dollars per week, but we're early in the year, and even so, you can see that 2023 is still higher than 2019, 2020, and 2021. So we're doing very well on all the financial levels, at least within this room that I'm able to track. Put all three of them together on one graph, and you will see a history for the last 5 years, a line chart that looks like this. There we go. So the purple line is the, oh, good Lord, the attendees per Sunday, and there's a purple dot. I don't have my little laser dot, but if you look way in the upper right side, there's on the far right side, there are 3 dots. It says 2023. That's where our attendance is so far as of last month, or as the beginning of this month. So you can see from 2019, 2020, 21, and 2022, and then the dot for 2023 shows that our attendance this year is way up, as you saw in the other graphs. The green line is the dollars per Sunday. Again, you can see it's on a rise. The green dot would be what we are doing so far in 2023 as of March 7th, and the red dot is the dollars per attendee. So although you can see that one comes down a little bit from last year, but everything is riding very nicely. This is all because of what you are doing, the donations that you are providing, the people who you are inviting, the warm atmosphere that we have within the center. If there's any questions, I will be glad to answer them, providing I can read my graphs. Otherwise, I'll make it up and you won't know the difference.
Nice.
That it? Okay. Oh, yes, Lori.
So we're actually down donations per person according to that.
From last year, yeah. So last year we were at $32.08, and right now I think we're at $32.08 per person, and right now so far we're at $30.53 or 55. Yes, walking off.
I noticed, though, that last year, even though our attendance went way down, you see that the money went way up.
That's why we track all of these different numbers, because it's not just attendance and it's not just donations, there's a combination of them. That gives us, shall we say, levers to move. If attendance is going up, we can just make a sincere attempt. We did this, I think it was the year I was president or the year right after, where we asked if everybody would, I think this was actually when Vicki was president, who was my predecessor. We said if people can donate, I think it was $4 a week more or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, and that's what people did. People just added $4 a week more, and up we went, because we were able to see what our dollars per
I
attendance.
don't even think it was that high.
Yeah, it might not have been, but it's a nice number to have. And
I think it was about $4.
yeah, something like that. But it doesn't matter. It worked. Anybody else? Oh, yes, Catherine.
So I just have a question about this, whether or not it includes things like Twice Nice and things like
No.
that. Oh, really? Okay, because Twice Nice we hadn't had, because of the pandemic.
Yeah, no, this is entirely donations, tithes, donations within this room. That's all that counts. Okay, I don't know who I'm supposed to hand this over to. And now, since I have been chastised for leaving the platform early, I won't. Doug! Which would make sense. Doug has better numbers than I do.
Oh, I don't know.
and can hopefully read them.
My numbers are just different.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, let's see. Oh, wow. Yeah, I was hoping to, I tried to summarize 3 different documents just to kind of give you a picture of the church's finances. Oh, yeah, wow, it's smaller than I thought it was going to be. Yeah. Well, I edited it down quite a bit so the page would be smaller, but I can see that it's going to be really difficult to read. But anyway, see if this is the one up here. Yeah, so this is like a kind of a summary snapshot of the general fund of this church during the last year. And it at the top there, you probably can't read it, but it's sources of income. And we have a few, just like Scott was talking about. Tithes and collections are on the top there. This is all ending December 2022. Those were $78,400 roughly. And then we had the special events, which were the plant sale and the Twice Nice sale, was $10,400. And then we rent this facility to the Myrtletown Survivors Group. So we have that income. That was like $7,600. There was some work.
Because they were paying half, right?
Right. There was a lot of time they were paying half price because they weren't even using it, but they were saving their spot. So that was nice of them. And then there's some workshop income from the minister teaching classes and just other, which captures everything else. So last year, the total income, the church was $98,800. It was a lot of money. And maybe just a side note, there was a $10,000 donation from somebody in the Ukiah church, which obviously brought that up a bit.
And Doug, what was the budget? Wasn't it in the 80s?
Yeah, that was, no, it was, last year's budget was like 92 or something. So anyway, we exceeded our expectations on the budget. The congregation, yeah, by thousands of dollars. Then I summarized all the expenses, all those next lines are expenses, and I mean that could be broken down into a lot of things. So I tried to like put them together and summarize it, but and I don't think I'm going to go down the list and tell you what each one of those are. We probably don't need to do that. But at the end of the year, our expenses were like $92,000. So in the big picture of things, we came out like $7,400 ahead. Lori's got her hand up.
Have we started saving money from the solar panels?
Yeah, there's our current electrical bill is $10 a month, roughly. It hovers around like that. And I'll just point out that Lori started the whole solar project back when she was president, and then she handed it off.
Doug made it happen.
Then she handed it off to me.
He speaks the same language as Roger.
Right. It took a long time. I think it was over a year to make that whole thing happen, but it did finally happen, and it did finally get registered, and it's up and running, and you can walk out to the inverter out here, and you can see the numbers on it, like what it's given right now and what it's given since it started. And
Doug, do you have a comparison of what we were paying for the power, electricity before we turned solar on?
I don't have that here. No, I mean I have.
You probably have an idea, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were paying like about $400 a month.
But that was gas and electricity, wasn't it? So I'm not sure how the electricity part of it broke down. But.
This month we had a $13 credit.
Yeah. Yeah, in the long run, that's going to be a great deal. That's a pretty big system. Michelle and I have solar in our house, and this is bigger than that. And I think that's probably going to take care of everything all the time here. unless we start charging cars and, you know, have electric heat and stuff.
Doug, do you still have a cost on the solar system?
Oh, yeah, so that's one other note about this picture right here. So it took a long time to get that installed, and Roger didn't even bill us until this last January. So even though it happened last year, we didn't pay for it until, I don't know, February 1st or something. No, he didn't. It was like $11,750, which is not reflected in that. So there's that much chunk out of that up there. That's less than Michelle and I paid to have our system put on our house, and we have a smaller system.
You have to keep in mind he uses recycled panels.
Yeah, he's not a businessman. He's on a mission. Anyway, so he did us a favor, really, and we're not.
Doug, are these pages that we can't see very well here, but I appreciate your summarizing them.
Yeah.
Past experience. Are those could those be made available to us online?
I've got online.
I'll put them in
Yeah.
Monday's newsletter.
Super, thank you.
And I'm looking at them right here.
Doug also has a couple extra copies.
Yes.
Well, yeah. I mean, we could really go down the rabbit hole here, and I'm trying to make a summary. But I do have, for anybody who wants to look at it, I do have the 2023 budget worksheet, which breaks it all down. I have at least half a dozen copies of that right here, if anybody wants to look at it. And then I have one copy of these right here I could put on the table if you want to have a closer look.
I think a link on the newsletter would be terrific.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See, there's some, let's see, those notes at the bottom there. Oh, yeah, there's a couple of the things that, I just wanted to point something out, which it's kind of important. Scott kind of touched on it, but based on last year and our expenses, the average monthly expense to run the church is $7,600 a month. Just to give you perspective on that. I don't know if that's important to you, but it gives you a sense of what it takes to keep the place going every month. Yes. Yeah, the mortgage is like $21,350 a year is kind of what it adds up to.
Does AA provide any?
Yeah, that was the facility rental last year, which you'll see in 2023 budget is going to be higher because, for one thing, they've been paying full boat every month, and the rent's also going up for them. It hasn't gone up since 2016. It's still what it was in 2016, and based on the price of energy and inflation, the board decided it's got to go up, but it's a pretty mild increase. Mm-hmm.
How many more years left on the mortgage?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not exactly sure. I think that was probably a 30-year loan, and
It was a 30-year loan at 4.25%, I think, something like that.
uh-huh. Yeah, you know, on the next, if we brought up the next slide, I don't know if we'll be able to see. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Tell you what it was at the time.
Yeah. This, which I guess is hard to see too, this is a snapshot summary of just the balance sheet for the church, which kind of, it gives you a sense of our assets. And so the top there is assets. Basically, it's the money. The church has like 9 accounts in our bank account, and I could go down and talk about each one, but total checking and savings at the end of the year was like $76,400. And then the middle category there is fixed assets, which includes the building and the land and the furniture and all that stuff. And then the liabilities are down there, which you just asked about. The 2 big ones being the building loan, which stands at $173,000 right now. That's roughly what we owe on the building.
And then we do have a small business loan, which we owe $28,000 on. So we do have like $192,000 in liabilities that we owe. So that's just kind of a brief picture of that, of the church's finances. And then let's see if we could move on to the next one. Yeah, so then this is the 2023 proposed budget. Are there questions out there here, people? Oh, yeah, I can't see anything.
It looks like 94.
Yeah, so the proposed budget to the is $99,460, which you can't see up there. And yeah, it's just under $100,000. Tithes and collections are roughly 77. We're going to have our special event income of about $10,000. We'll probably get about $10,000 out of our facility rental, and another $1,500 from workshops and other income. And then just projecting some of our expenses. Oh, wow, look at that. Now you can see it now.
Sorry.
Go to my car, get my binoculars, and be able to read.
Yeah, so I lumped a bunch of stuff together here. You know, like I lumped a bunch of stuff into the office, just so the list isn't so long because it doesn't fit on a slide. I lumped a bit of stuff into the minister. I lumped a bit of stuff into the occupancy, into the building, just so there wasn't such a list. So you can look down that and kind of see what we projected it'll take to run the church next year. Catherine.
Why did we have an expense for tithing of $8,200? What is that?
Well, we tithe
That's right,
to the mother organization. Yeah. We tithe to the mother organization, and we tithe to like a couple of these funds too, so that they will grow. So there's. Yeah, we tithe to Food for People. So there's some of that money goes to some funds that we have, and it also goes to some other organizations. So I don't know if I remember exactly. I think our tithing to CSL is like 7% of our tithes in any given year. Burl.
Yeah, you didn't include, or did you, where is the number anyway? We had a furniture sale, we had a book sale.
Let's see, what in the income column? Is that?
Wanted to get acknowledgement.
I think those were in the year before.
Yeah.
Would it be in the special events income?
But this is
Yeah.
the budget for this year.
Yeah, this is the budget for 2023, and so yeah, that's a pretty round number for special events. Yeah, the musicians are here every Sunday. There's Jeff and Jackson, and there's a special musician, and we compensate those people.
They
And,
don't get paid enough.
no, they're not getting rich or anything. Let's see, that occupancy expense has a bunch of stuff in it. It's got all the PG&E, gas and electric and water and sewer and trash and cleaning the building.
Internet now.
Yeah, I stuck the internet, I think, in the office expense there. That's why the office expense looks so high, because there's the office manager, there's supplies, postage, professional fees, telephone. I put volunteer recognition and advertising in there too. So that's the reason the office probably looks bigger to Waukena than it really does. So I don't know. Are there any questions about that or anything I could clarify?
Yeah, the
walking out shaking her head no.
Okay, because I had to do that for my home, that's why I'm thinking. Yeah, I mean, it might be, it's just a few bucks, but then if something happens. It costs a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't tell them, they won't come right.
Right. Well, there's the detail to pay attention to. We haven't done that at our house either, think about it. Is there anything, and then I got some copies of this, more broken down for anybody who would like to look at it. But that's kind of what I have to present, unless you have questions. Not yet. Well, I can't leave the podium until the next person gets up here.
Yeah, right.
Thank you. Personally, I think all in all, we've done really well considering what we've had to deal with, don't you? Yeah. I'm really pleased. I mean, you would not believe at how many centers have sold their buildings and, you know, gone just online, et cetera. It's been really hard, yeah, like Ukiah, for instance. So Ukiah decided just to disband. But it's not an unusual thing because it's caused a lot of problems for a lot of people. And I'm really appreciative of all of you who have kept coming and keep tithing and you know, making this your spiritual home. So my thing here is the vision for 2023. And I'll tell you, physically, I want us to have electric heaters this year because, yeah, so solar can pay for it. That's right. So Walk and I have been talking to PG&E about when they can, you know, because they have these various grants and, you know, we'll give it to you less and all that. So we're really looking at all of that because it costs a lot of money to heat this building with the price of gas right now.
Can that hurt what we have, or?
No, you have to buy a new one.
So we're looking at buying an electric furnace, is that the idea, or?
Or whatever it is that'll work the best for us and the environment. Yeah. No decisions have been made, we're just looking at it. And that's why I'm saying that by the time we stand here next year, we're gonna go, yay. Yes,
Are we considering getting a battery storage system for our solar?
I think it's a good idea.
It's really, really expensive.
Yeah.
That just triples your cost.
But, you know,
You have to watch, if you go battery, you can't come off the grid. Because if you come off the grid, then your building loses interest.
then you're building what?
They deduct the value of the property if you go offline from the power.
Oh, if you
If
go
I
just
do
to,
that at my house, if I put a battery system in and tell PG&E to go away, my house loses value.
That's not the same as a grid tie system, though.
So you can put the heaters in, you can do everything you want to do, you just can't separate from PG&E. Once you separate from PG&E, that means somebody
but
else.
what, I thought the batteries were basically if the power goes down.
Yeah, but
I know my landlord next door to me has a generator.
a lot of people have batteries, but they don't have to be connected to anything. I have friends in Hawaii that have solar who are not hooked up to anybody.
Right, we can have a grid tie system with backup batteries.
Well, let's talk about this another time. If you guys really know what you're talking about, let's have a committee. Let's make a committee because this is something I'd like to see. I know all of us would like to see our bills go down even more, so. So that's, I know that we're gonna keep improving our spiritual home and it's gonna be environmentally wonderful for the neighborhood, et cetera. The other thing I'd like to see for us as we move forward into this year is our junior church to come back. You know, we have somebody who's ready and willing to be here on Sunday mornings, but if you look around, most of us have had our children already, and they're too old to be in junior church. So I'm putting in mind that we're going to once again increase our younger population so that we can bring our junior church back. When I talk to some of the children that are the teens, for instance, that have been in Science of Mind their whole lives, it's really pretty amazing. You know, they're pretty amazing kids. So junior church, everything electric. I know that we will continue to grow. I remember well that there was just before the pandemic, there was a couple of times when Everett wrote down 80 people in attendance on the list that was in there. And I know that feeling of standing in the back going, where are we going to put everybody? You know, now we can add some more chairs, I think, this way. But anyway, so I want us to keep growing, not only physically, but in consciousness. And this is my job, my vision, is seeing that all of us are known. I mean, remember when Dr. Sattler was alive and he would come in here and he would say to me, I don't know what's going on here, but this center is so warm and so loving and so giving. And I want us to be known, to continue to be known for that, for a place where love rules. I also, we're going on a trip this year, 4 of us from the center, and maybe not next year, but the year after that, I'd like to see us do some more spiritual travel. You know, one of our ministers in Texas, the co-pastor of the Dallas church, has resigned from being that, and she bought a company called Spirit Tours, or her and her wife bought this company called Spirit Tours. And right now she's over in Africa, and she's posting pictures of lions and tigers and hippos, not bears, hippos. But, you know, I love traveling, and I would like to once again, I mean, I've taken a group to Ireland, now we're going to Scotland, and I would like to go some more places before I decide to leave this dimension. So I want to see some more spiritual travel happen as well.
How about a cruise?
What?
A cruise.
Oh yeah, cruise to Alaska. Go up to Denali. What? Yeah, that'd be good too. That'd be good too. Anyway, so here, what are some things you might like to see happen in our center? Wakra.
I'm curious if we could put a labyrinth in half of our front yard.
That's already being thought about.
Okay, see, like minds.
Yep. Marlon first, then Lori.
The mural, the wall.
Yep, that's been worked on. In fact, Olivia brought a beautiful painting that she did to show us. So anybody else who has ideas for a mural on the parking lot wall, please turn in your ideas, you know, do a drawing, and we'll make it happen. Lori.
I had the same question about the mural.
Great.
This really cool mural on Humboldt Hill. The foot there's a Mexican restaurant, and I was trying to get the information who that guy was, because it's kind of like a
Taqueteria.
Yeah, what's his name that did the WP? Never mind.
He did a good job, that one on that restaurant. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah. There's a lot of good murals. And in August is usually when they have the outdoor art festival where people start painting. And I would love for us to start doing that, but we got to have an idea and a picture. So
I thought the people in the center were going to paint it.
we are. Yeah. But we'll probably ask Rick's daughter to come and be the supervisor on it, because she's a very amazing artist who's done.
I have a whole mural
You do. You have a good mural in the back of your garage. I agree. So there's just something to think about. Any other things that you'd like to see happen here? Yes, Barb.
Water craze.
That won't happen here. It would happen at the Women's Club, but
Quarter craze.
it's a fun game kind of thing that it's crazy. It's something that the Women's Club does quite often, and the current president of the Women's Club, Carol Crosley, she runs it, and it makes good money. Makes really good money. And it's fun, that's right. Yeah.
So it's a fundraiser.
Yeah, it would be a fundraiser. In fact, everyone, all of those who said, I don't want to do Twice Nice anymore, nobody came to me from last year to this year with ideas on how we could make that much money again. So I know Kathy has.
I don't appreciate the characterization.
What?
I said I don't agree with the characterization. You just made it.
I was whining about it. Remember, I was in charge, which made a lot of work. Luckily, I let people be in charge of their own areas. But Kathy Johansson has worked with San Jose Church with doing Gourmets for God or Divine Dining or whatever we want to call them. Kathy Ann Lewis, I'm starting to get in their newsletters. Everybody's starting to look at it now, and that's a fun thing. You'll hear more about that as the time goes. But, if you come up with a good idea for a fundraiser, let us know. We're willing. Yes, Marvin?
Maybe a fashion show?
Hey, you know what? I remember in Hawaii, we did a recycled fashion show. And they even ended up with the bridal gown at the end that was made up of all these plastic bags. But it was beautiful. It was amazing. And it was fun. Yes?
Donkey costume.
Oh, that'd be cute. Yeah, that would be cute. I've always wanted to do an animal blessing right around St. Francis's Day, so that might be a good thing to think about.
We used to have dances. What about spiritual movies here, where we come together and do stuff like that?
You gotta be
No.
careful with that, with the what you pay for, I don't know, if it's royalties or whatnot. I looked into that for another center, and you get in trouble pretty easy.
We always bought the license to do it.
And they're not cheap.
It's about $200. I don't know what it is now, but it was $200 before the pandemic.
EMI is a lot cheaper than ASCAP. I was going to suggest a couple of times for doing house concerts.
I would love to do a concert. I think that would be a fun
So many
thing.
talented people.
Yeah.
Remember when Edward had spearheaded the concert thing? That was really fun.
Yeah, it is. Okay. So everybody who's come up with ideas, it would be great if you would write them down and email them to Rick. our center council president, and so we can look at them. And remember, I could be like my old teacher who said, oh, that's such a good idea. Are you going to head it? Because somebody has to be the chair of it. So, if there are no further business or questions, is there any further business or questions? I will put those 3 things in the Monday newsletter, which means it's going to be a little bit bigger, but you can see what those figures actually were up close. Anything else? Yep.
Today is the 38th anniversary of the first time I ever sang at CSL, and it was, I was an hour late to my performance.
Oh, no.
So I did my solo at the end of the service. We were a trio at that time. We did it at the end of the service.
Oh, that's fun.
Down in Old Town.
Congratulations.
Yeah. It happens to me my wedding anniversary too, now that I think about it. What's 88? That we got married in 88. How many years is that? Wow. Claudia.
I did the affirmation for today.
Yeah.
I talked about light, and I really want to put in that affirmation. Welcome, Donna.
Because of that.
Because we're snafu.
Yeah. That's funny.
She notices this time every year.
Yep. That's one of the things I love about our church, actually, is there's so many old timers here. I mean, people have been coming here a long time.
Change it to historian.
Yes.
Experienced.
What? There's experienced members here. That's right. Okay. If there's no more comments or questions, let's treat. How grateful I am for this center. I know it is a divine idea in the one mind. And that one mind has disseminated this one idea into every single one of us. And so we each take ownership. We allow ourselves to think, this is my center. This is my spiritual family. This is good, very good. And I know that we take this sense of accomplishment from last year into 2023 with a great sense of joy, knowing that the universe goes before us, preparing the way. So we see these things that we want as already accomplished. We see ourselves standing here next year at our annual meeting, rejoicing in all the things we've done and all the people that are here and all the various areas of the center that have grown. And I know that this is just an outpicturing of how much each one of us individually has grown. And so I'm so grateful to get to be the guide for the spiritual journey that we're all having called life. I'm so grateful for my own spiritual journey, because I see God reflected everywhere. And this is a good thing. It's definitely a God thing. And so it is. Let's have lunch. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here.